It has been 4 long years since Duke, a German shepherd with a loyal gaze, stayed at the same abandoned gas station. Summers come and go, winters sweep across the landscape, but he waits. He has never stopped staring at the road, motionless, solitary. His coat is worn by dust, his gaze vacant yet determined. Who is he really waiting for? What is he looking for? No one knows, but everything was about to change. In the small town, the residents had gotten used to seeing Duke every day, every month. Martha Ryled, the owner of the local diner, was one of the first to feed the dog. Every morning she would drop food at his feet, but Duke only ate when he was alone. He never let anyone approach, as if something prevented him from being touched by kindness. He wasn't aggressive or hostile, but he seemed doomed to wait relentlessly. Theories about his past were plentiful among the townspeople. A dog abandoned? A lost dog? Or was he waiting for someone who would never return? Questions multiplied, but answers were few. Then one day a journalist named Noah Patterson arrived in town. He had seen many stories, but he had a feeling that Duke's story was different. He began researching and made a shocking discovery. He found an old missing dog notice, a German shepherd lost after a car accident on the nearby highway, exactly 4 years ago. This dog was not a stray. He belonged to a family who had lost him, and Duke had never stopped waiting for their return. Noah knew he had to act. He grabbed his camera and began filming, capturing the image of the dog sitting there, solitary, unaware that his family thought he was lost forever. He shared the video online. Within hours, it had spread around the world. People commented, searched for clues, shared theories, and then the miracle happened. A message appeared on Noah's screen. "I know this dog." Lucas Carter, a 14-year-old teenager, was at home, sitting in his room, scrolling through his phone when he came across the video. His heart raced. He recognized Duke instantly. Memories flooded back. Memories of this dog, his dog, the one he had lost. In a frenzy of emotion, he ran to his mother, Emily, and handed her the phone. "Mom, it's him. I think they found Duke." Tears welled up in Emily's eyes, a mixture of shock and relief. She took her phone and quickly typed a message. "It's our dog. It's Duke. Tell me he's still there." Noah's response came quickly. "Duke is here. He's never left." Emily's trembling voice on the phone asked for confirmation. "Is this real?" Noah nodded, even though she couldn't see him. "Yes, ma'am, he's here." A few seconds of silence, then a stifled sob. "We're coming right now." A 10-hour drive awaited them, but nothing could stop them. Duke would finally be reunited with his family. The hours passed slowly for the Carters. Emily and Benjamin took turns driving, while Lucas, clutching his phone, couldn't help but stare at the image of Duke. His heart filled with a strange hope. Every mile seemed like one more step toward a dream becoming reality. Meanwhile, Noah remained faithful to his position. He watched Duke, still motionless, gazing at the road. The gas station had now become a place full of emotion and suspense. The townspeople slowly gathered, drawn by this unique story. Martha brought fresh water and a blanket for Duke, while truck drivers over the years had stopped, intrigued by the story of the dog that waited endlessly. Night fell. The cold spread across the asphalt. Noah stayed there motionless, listening to Duke's calm breathing. Then suddenly something changed. Duke raised his head. His ears twitched. His body tensed. Something was approaching. In the distance, headlights gleamed in the night. The car slowed down, then stopped. The passenger door opened abruptly. Emily Carter stepped out, her eyes filled with tears, followed closely by Benjamin and Lucas. The latter, his eyes fixed on Duke, felt his heart tighten. The dog hesitated for a moment, then without a sound, dashed toward him. A trembling cry escaped Lucas's lips. "Duke!" The dog sprinted toward him, running with all the energy he had accumulated over those 4 years. They finally met. Duke placed his paws on Lucas and began sniffing him. His tail wagged, and all around them, tears flowed. The family was reunited, but Duke was no longer the same. After 4 years of solitude and survival, he bore the marks of his long journey. During the return trip, Duke curled up on the back seat. He didn't move much. His gaze, once so full of trust, now seemed more vigilant, more wary. His family knew they had to give him time. When they arrived at their home in Denver, Lucas got out first and gently opened the door for Duke. But the dog hesitated. He stood there looking at the open door in the street with an evident distrust. Lucas knelt down, his eyes filled with gentleness. "You're safe, Duke. Come with me." After a long moment, Duke took a step, then another. He slowly stepped out of the car, his muscles tensed, his eyes scanning everything around him. But he was there. He was home. Inside, Duke cautiously explored each room. He remembered the bed he once had, but he didn't lie down in it. Instead, he stayed near the door, as if every moment could be the one when he had to leave. The first nights were difficult. He didn't sleep in his bed, but curled up next to the door, always ready to flee. Every noise made him jump. Lucas, determined to help him, stayed close by. He spoke to him softly. "We've got all the time in the world, Duke." A week passed, then one morning something magical happened. Duke was no longer near the door. He had found his bed. For the first time since his return, he lay down and closed his eyes. The family knew that Duke was healing. Slowly, he was feeling safer, more comfortable. But the journey was still long. One day, Lucas decided to take a new step. "Do you want to go outside for a bit, old boy?" he asked, opening the door that led to the garden. Duke, initially hesitant, moved forward. Then as he took a step, a deafening noise erupted, a firework. The dog froze, terrified, his ears down. He backed away, trying to flee. Lucas panicked, tried to catch him, but Duke was already far away. The years of wandering, solitude, and the fear of the accident, everything came rushing back to him. Suddenly, at the end of the street, Lucas appeared, arms outstretched. "Duke, please!" He stopped dead. After a moment of tension, the dog took a step toward him, then another. Finally, he placed his nose on Lucas's hand, and the two returned together, a little closer, a little stronger. That night, Duke finally slept in his bed, no longer out of fear, but out of trust. Little by little, the healing was taking place. Duke was home, but his inner journey was just beginning.